an official commission of inquiry to investigate into the grievances of the poor peasants of Champaran was set up by the Lieutenant Governor of Bihar and Odisha province. And the commission consisted of representative of the landlords, representative of the government, and Gandhi was the only representative of the poor peasants. Let us see what happened. What was the outcome of the commission? The official inquiry assembled a crushing mountain of evidence against the big planters, and when they saw this, they agreed in principle to make refunds to the peasants. But how much must we pay? They asked Gandhi. So the commission, it made a lot of investigation. It talked to the people. It listened to their grievances, listened to their complaints, and after all these phases of investigation, they came to conclusion. What was the conclusion? They discovered that there were huge evidence against the landlords. The author is using the word crushing mountain of evidence. You see, crushing mountain of evidence against the poor, against the landlords. The word mountain is used here to mean that the evidences against the landlords were huge. Mountain means height, very large, very much height it is. So mountain of evidence means there were a lot of evidence. And crushing means something that is disappointing, something sad. If you see the evidences, the findings of the commission, your mind will really be disappointed. You will feel sad about the poor peasants. So now everything was clear. And when they saw this, they agreed in principle to make refunds to the peasants. Now the landlords found that we had no way out. We are caught. That we have done a lot of injustice to the poor peasants. This is established now. We cannot rule it out. So what to do now? They said, okay, we have taken money from these people wrongly, and they have agreed now to pay back the money. Now the question is, how much must we pay? They asked Gandhi. They knew that the amount of money that they had wrongly extracted from the poor peasants, this is a huge amount, and they cannot repay the full amount. So they want some consideration, some relaxation, and they asked Gandhi, how much should we pay? They thought he would demand repayment in full of the money which they had illegally and deceitfully extorted from the sharecroppers. They thought that Gandhi would say, full amount you have to pay. Yes, anyone will say like this. You unjustly took money from us, and now when you have agreed, when it is established, when it is proved that we were the sufferers, we were the victims, now you have to pay the full amount. There should not be any consideration. They knew this, that Gandhi would demand the amount to be paid in full, because they took the money from the poor peasants illegally, in a wrong way, in an illegal way, and deceitfully means they cheated the poor peasants. In this way they took it, so they have to pay the full amount. But interestingly, Gandhi said he asked only 50%. Many people may not agree with Gandhi that Gandhi's stand was not right. Many people may argue, because you have got an opportunity, they have been proved to be the wrongdoers. They are the people who made these poor peasants suffer. Since it is established, it is proved, and they are ready to pay. Why not full amount? Why only 50%? This is a question. But Gandhi had his reason. We'll see what reason was there. And when Gandhi said you pay 50%, there he seemed adamant. Adamant means when you are very rigid on something. It means you have said something and you are not going to change your mind. Gandhi said 50%, it means 50%. He wanted 50% only. And who said that Gandhi was adamant on 50%? Writes Reverend J.Z. Hodge. Reverend J.Z. Hodge is the name of a British missionary. A missionary is a person who has a mission, who has some principles, some messages that he spreads. Usually they may be those Christian missionary people, they were spreading their religion. So Reverend J.Z. Hodge was a British missionary in Champaran who observed the entire episode. Episode means this Gandhi's visit to Champaran, his stay there, and all the things that happened during his stay in Champaran, all these things are episode. So all these things are called this episode. So Reverend J.Z. Hodge, who was a British missionary in Champaran and who saw the whole episode, the whole things that happened, he observed everything, he made this comment. He said Gandhi was adamant on 50% return of the money that the peasants had taken. thinking probably that he would not give way. Give way means to consider. He would not give way. The representatives of the plaintiffs offered to refund to the extent of 25%. When Gandhi said you pay back 50%, then the landlords, they again made a plea, made a request to Gandhi that make it 25%. When they made this request, they knew it that Gandhi will not accept, Gandhi will not agree. Already he has come from 100% to 50%, and now when you say we will give 25%, you took the money deceitfully and it is established, and now you are saying not 50, 25%. Who can agree? They also were not. They were not of the view that Gandhi will agree. But what happened? To his amazement, Mr. Gandhi took him at his word. Took him at his word means he accepted his request, and thus breaking the deadlock. Gandhi said, "Okay, no problem." There is now more chance to criticize Gandhi here. Firstly, he said 50%, not 100%. And when the plaintiffs, when the landlords, they requested 25%, Gandhi readily agreed. What kind of idea is it? These people are proved to be wrongdoers, and they have agreed to pay the money. They have to pay the money. The government, as per the government inquiry commission, they are proved to be the wrongdoers, so they have to pay. But Gandhi said, okay, 25%. Thus breaking the deadlock. The reason we will elaborate a bit later. So when Gandhi agreed to 25%, what happened is that he broke the deadlock. This is a word that you should pay attention to, deadlock. It is a single word. Don't think it's dead and lock, that a lock is dead. No, it's a single word, deadlock. We have many such words in English. See, handsome. When you write handsome, it doesn't mean hand and some. It has nothing to do with hand and some. It's a different word, handsome. Like budget. Budget. Don't see it is bud and get. No, budget is a different thing. Handsome is one word. Deadlock is also a single word. Deadlock. Deadlock means when things don't move. It stands still. Situation is such that there is no progress of the activity. That is called deadlock. So Gandhi, he agreed to 25% because he thought that if we agree, then only things will move. We will go to a settlement. Otherwise, there will be bargaining. They will say we cannot pay. Already we are in our business, our trade is not going fine, and so we are not able to pay. So things will not move, and there will be a deadlock. So Gandhi broke the deadlock, and he allowed the things to move by agreeing to 25% payment of the money to the peasants by the landlords. This settlement was adopted unanimously by the commission. Gandhi explained that the amount of the refund was less important than the fact that the landlords had been obliged to surrender part of the money and with it part of their prestige. So this is why what Gandhi's logic is, Gandhi's justification. We all were surprised that Gandhi firstly agreed to 50%, he himself offered 50%, then he agreed to 25%. Now the logic is that Gandhi's view was that the percentage of refund is less important. Whatever amount they are paying, it's okay, take it. Let things move. What was more important then? In Gandhi's view, the more important thing is that even though the landlords were paying only 25% refund, still two things they have lost. What was it? They surrendered two things. First thing is they surrendered part of their money, at least some amount of money they are paying back from their pocket. Whatever be it 25%, but still they are refunding it, they are taking it out from their pocket and paying it back to the peasants. One thing they have surrendered, money is surrendered. Second thing they have surrendered is part of their prestige. So long the British landlords, they thought we are the rulers, we are everything, you are poor peasants, you are nothing. Whatever we say, it is our rule. No, this time, whatever be the percentage of money they are paying back, along with this, they have lost their prestige also. Because it is the commission that was formed by the government, their own government. That commission found out and found proofs that landlords were the culprits. And now, they have been, this is a disgrace on their part. So they have to pay back some amount of money, and they are surrendering part of their prestige also. In Gandhi's view, that is more important than the full amount of money. Therefore, as far as the peasants were concerned, the plaintiffs had behaved as lords above the law. Now the peasants saw that he had rights and defenders. He learned courage. What is the other advantage of this settlement, 25% agreement? The other advantage is that so far, landlords thought they were the lords. And those poor peasants, the Indian peasants, they were very timid, they were afraid, they were coward. They did not ever think that a time will come when such a settlement will take place. And now when they have realized that we also have rights, we also have defenders. Defenders means those people who defend us, those people who support us, those people who come to help us. We also have such people. And with this incident, they have learned courage. They have learned that yes, there is something called courage in us. We have to utilize it. So long they were not afraid of this courage within them. That was the good part of the settlement. Events justified Gandhi's opinion. Though there may be some people who are not happy with Gandhi's decision, but now you see what happened later. Gandhi's stand, his offer of 50% payment by the landlords, and then he's agreeing to the 25% payment. Both the things were justified later. How? Within a few years, the British planters abandoned their estates. Abandoned means to leave. They left their estate. They were the landlords, but within a few years they left their estates. They left the ownership, and then what happened? Which reverted to the peasants. The ownership of this land went back to the peasants. The poor peasants who were only sharecroppers a few years back, they have now become the owner of the land. And then indigo sharecropping disappeared. Indigo sharecropping became a part of history. There was nothing called indigo sharecropping. There was no class division, one class called sharecroppers, another class called landlords, nothing. Landlords themselves left the estate, peasants became the owner of the estate. This was a historic change, a historic achievement made by the poor peasants under the leadership of Gandhi. So Gandhi had far-sightedness. He was thinking about what will happen after 5 years, after 10 years. We people who do not have far-sightedness, we just want an immediate benefit. What is happening to me today? How much shall I get today? But Gandhi thought, what kind of profit these people will have in the long run. That's why, because of his far-sightedness, he took some decision which ordinary people might not have been able to agree, but later it was proved that Gandhi's stand was right. Gandhi never contented himself with large political or economic solutions. He saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Champaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately. He appealed for teachers. Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parikh, two young men who had just joined Gandhi as disciples, and their wives volunteered for the work. So then, this is one turning point. Gandhi has achieved, the poor peasants of Champaran have achieved. What is it? That the sharecropping system has disappeared. There is no land. There are no landlords now. The old system is gone. The poor peasants have become the owner of the land. So the whole thing, it is closed. Settlement has been achieved. Gandhi should have left. But Gandhi is still not leaving Champaran. Why? Because in Gandhi's view, the freedom that these people have got, the achievement that they have made, that is not everything. That is just an economic change. The sharecroppers became landlords. Landlords have gone. Economic change is there. But in Gandhi's view, this economic or political change could not satisfy him. Gandhi never contented himself. Contented means be satisfied. Gandhi was never happy with this political or contented means be satisfied. Gandhi was not satisfied ever with the political or economic changes. In 1947, what freedom we got in 1947, that freedom also, there are many people who said that at that time also many people opined that that freedom was not a freedom in the true sense, because it was just a transfer of power. And in some respects, yes, during British Raj things were better. I can give you some proofs. For example, this inquiry commission, we have found that Gandhi, a single individual who met the Lieutenant Governor 4 times, he had long interviews with him 4 times, and as a result, the Lieutenant Governor was convinced and he established an inquiry commission, and see how immediately the commission came up with this report. And what about independent India? In independent India, you see, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, the man whose name is enough for his recognition and identity. No one needs to elaborate the kind of patriotism, the kind of service he did for this country. But what happened to this man ultimately? No one exactly knows. After independence, several commissions were established. Shahnawaz Commission, Khosla Commission, Mukherjee Commission. The early government, the Congress government was blamed to have played politics with it. The present government came up with a lot of hue and cry. We are going to unearth, we are going to find out, we will make all the things public. People will come to know what happened actually to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. But still, no one knows exactly what happened to these great men of India, even after India got independence. If a man like Netaji, what happened to him at the end, in spite of several commissions, no one knows the truth, let alone those 20,000 people who were killed in Delhi in 1983. Tiwari Commission was established. The government of Justice Srikar did not make the report public. So this is what happened in India after independence. And before independence, the British officer, the British bureaucrat, just because of his long talk with Gandhi, he appointed a commission, and the commission came up with its report. So whatever freedom we got in 1947, it is just a change of political power. Earlier, some people are ruling, the foreigners. Now, our countrymen are ruling. And in some respects, this rule is worse than that. So there is a Hindi shayari. I don't actually talk, I like to talk in Hindi in English classes, but there is a Hindi shayari whose meaning is that British are still there. That the color is changed. Earlier, the rulers were white, the present rulers are black. Generation is changed, earlier generation, and now it is their children who are ruling us. Let us enjoy the Hindi shayari then. कौन कहते हैं कि अंग्रेज चले गए हैं, वो तो लम गए हैं, बस गए हैं. कौन कहते हैं कि अंग्रेज चले गए हैं, वो तो लम गए हैं, बस गए हैं. अंतर सिर्फ इतना ही है, पहले बुरे थे, अब काले बन गए हैं. पहले ससुर थे, अब साले बन गए हैं. That is it. That generation and now the present generation, the color is changed, and that's the transfer of power. Economic and social justice, economic and social changes. These things, if they don't occur in your life, who is ruling you? That is not a matter. You need employment, you need good roads, you need economic stability. If you don't get it, then who is ruling you? That is not a matter. That doesn't make a difference. So Gandhi was never satisfied with political and economic changes. What he wanted is that he saw the cultural and social backwardness in the Champaran villages and wanted to do something about it immediately. Gandhi saw that the people of Champaran, they were socially and culturally poor, and he wanted to do something for it. Who can do that? For social and cultural progress, who can help? It is the teachers. So he appealed for teachers. Gandhi wanted people to come and volunteer their service. Mahadev Desai and Narhari Parikh, two young men who had just joined Gandhi as disciples. Disciples means followers or students. Disciple means follower or a learner or a student. Narhari Parikh and Mahadev Desai, these two people had recently become Gandhi's students, Gandhi's followers. They came, along with them came their wives. They volunteered for the work. Volunteer. The word volunteer means to do something willingly. Do something willingly. No one asks you to do it. No one forces you to do it. You willingly come up to do the work. When Gandhi made a call that I want teachers to come to Champaran and work for these poor people, these people, they voluntarily came. They volunteered. And then who else came? Several more came from Bombay, Pune and other distant parts of the land. Devadas, Gandhi's youngest son, we have gotten information, Gandhi's youngest son, his name was Devadas, arrived from the ashram, and so did Mrs. Gandhi. And so did, what does this mean? You have to learn this thing. This might be of use when you use English in written or spoken form. And so did Mrs. Gandhi. And so did means whatever action is described earlier, the same action was done. See the sentence again. Devadas, Gandhi's youngest son, arrived from the ashram, and so did. And so did means Devadas, he arrived from ashram, and so this Mrs. Gandhi, it means Mrs. Gandhi also arrived from the ashram. Primary schools were opened in 6 villages. An individual Gandhi from Gujarat is leading these activities. In Champaran villages in Bihar, in 6 villages primary schools were established. Kasturbai, she was the wife of Gandhi. She taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation. Kasturbai, she found that the people of Champaran, they were very filthy, they were having a very rough life. In their life there was no nutrition, no cleanliness, they had no idea of being clean. So she taught them two things. One is personal cleanliness. How to remain clean personally. Your clothes should be clean, your body should be clean, you should take bath regularly, there should not be any dirt in your body, etc. And another is the community sanitation. This means when you go out of your house, in your surroundings, there should not be any dirt, any filth. You should be aware of, you should be conscious about maintaining your personal cleanliness, at the same time, the community cleanliness, community sanitation. These two things, Gandhi's wife taught those people in Champaran. Health conditions were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. So Gandhi, on the one hand, to improve the standard of these poor people, he requested people to come. People came, schools were opened. This is one thing, education sector, people are getting the basic knowledge. And now another thing is health sector. Gandhi took notice of that also. He asked a doctor to volunteer. For 6 months a doctor came. For 6 months a doctor voluntarily served these people. 3 medicines were made available for these poor people. What are the names of the medicine? Castor oil, quinine, sulfur ointment. Anybody who showed a coated tongue means your tongue is showing some white coat. It means there is infection on your tongue. You are feeling unwell. Your tongue is sick. So anybody who showed a coated tongue was given a dose of castor oil. Those who were having infection on the tongue, they got castor oil. Anybody with malaria fever received quinine plus castor oil. Those suffering from malaria were given quinine tablet along with this castor oil. Anybody with skin eruptions, if your skin got erupted, if your skin got infection, then what will you get? If your skin swelled, then you will receive castor oil, quinine plus castor oil. So, to improve the health condition, to improve the educational condition of the people, Gandhi noticed the filthy state of women's clothes. Ladies were not having that clean clothes. Gandhi noticed that they were wearing filthy state. Notice the filthy state, Filthy. Filthy means dirty. Gandhi noticed that women their condition was very dirty. So Gandhi could not speak this out personally. He told his wife, and his wife talked to the women. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them about it. One woman took Kasturbai into her heart and said, "Look, there is no box or cupboard here for clothes. The sari I am wearing is the only one I have." So when Gandhi's wife talked to those poor women that, "Why are you so dirty? Why are your saris or your clothes so dirty?" Then one woman took Gandhi's wife to her home, to her hut, to her small room, and she told Gandhi's wife that, "See, you are talking about cleanliness, you are saying that we are dirty, we are filthy. See the reality that there is no box or cupboard. This word, anyone will pronounce it as cupboard, but it's not cupboard. It looks like cupboard, but its pronunciation should be like this. Its pronunciation should be cupboard. It's called, this is the phonetic notation. This means it should be pronounced as cupboard. Cupboard, it's not cupboard. So, that woman who took Gandhi's wife into her house showed Gandhi's wife the interior of the house and said, "In my house there is no box, there is no cupboard." Cupboard is a box like where there are doors and windows and you can keep things. There is no cupboard, there is no box in my house, and the sari I am wearing, this is the only sari I have. I don't have sari for change. I take bath and then the same sari it becomes dry in my body. That is how we are living. So how can you expect us to maintain cleanliness and to maintain sanitation? That is what the reality is with us. During the long stay in Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. He sent regular instructions by mail and asked for financial accounts. Gandhi was in Champaran in Bihar, and in Ahmedabad in Gujarat he had his ashram. It was not like today that from here you can make a video call and you can watch who is doing what. That was not the time at that time. Still, from Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distance watch. This watch, it means he maintained correspondence with these people. Although he was in Champaran, sitting here, staying in Champaran, he contacted those people in ashram. What did he do then? he sent regular instructions by mail. M-A-I-L, mail means letter. M-A-I-L, mail. Nowadays we have email, electronic letter. So the original word is mail, it means letters. Gandhi used to write letters and to get information about how things were going on in the ashram. And he always wanted financial accounts, how money is spent, from where money is coming and how money is spent, on what activities money is spent. All this data he wanted to get, and he always sent instruction first. I'm sorry. Gandhi wanted financial accounts, how money was received and how it was spent. All these things he wanted through mail. Once he wrote to the residents, very interesting thing here, once he wrote to the residents means people who were living in the ashram, he wrote to them, see how much conscious, to what level Gandhi was concerned about people living in ashram, how their life was lived. Once he wrote a letter to the residents that it was time to fill in the old latrine trenches. At that time, the sanitary latrine that you are having now, inside your home you have your toilet, washroom, that was not the time then. So you have to go outside. There is a latrine, and latrine was earth was dug, and then a trench was made, and there kacha latrine was there. So Gandhi, he was even calculative. He, from sitting here in Champaran, he had this calculation. He had this thing in mind that latrine trenches were becoming out of date. So he wrote to the people in the ashram that old latrine trenches, it was time to fill it and dig new ones, otherwise the old ones would begin to smell bad. That we need to dig new latrine trenches. Old ones are overloaded, they need to be stopped from being used, and otherwise what will happen, that because of the overloading of the things in the old latrine trenches, foul smell will start coming up. So go for digging new latrine trenches, making new latrines. This much concern Gandhi had about his ashram. So see the liability, the sense of responsibility, the intimacy, the integrity that Gandhi had. So still Gandhi was staying in Champaran, and he was looking into the other aspects of the life of the people. Economic and political solution was done. Now their social and cultural progress Gandhi was looking into. And now we will see in the next video, will possibly be the last video, where we will see how the Champaran episode, it was a turning point in Gandhi's life. Champaran episode was a turning point in Gandhi's life. It was a turning point in the history of Indian freedom movement. How it was, this we will see in the next video. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you.